Hey everybody, welcome to Hit Rewind. This episode we're discussing four classics from the 70s, and I was a little disappointed, honestly. Kersey, were these the first time you've watched these movies?
I've seen Chinatown before, but the other three I haven't seen.
I, I saw Mr. Majestyk, like the last 20 minutes of it, on TBS back when they used to have the Charles Bronson marathons. This was a thing, people. It was Chuck Norris and Charles Bronson weekends. Sometimes Clint Eastwood if you're a special little boy. Um, I figured I would
Those
start
are
off with
those are way too expensive. That's like a once a year thing.
Yeah, the licensing. I don't understand how that works with licensing rights. Did they buy them for years on end, or did they have to pay every time they showed it? I heard it worked that way with HBO. Is that, um, if the movie wasn't very popular, it was a much lower fee to license it initially, but also like every time you played it, that it was only like a certain amount of money. That's why so many cult classics arose from the 80s, is because that's what HBO's daytime was just loaded with movies that didn't do very well at the box office. I don't know what
Yeah,
TBS.
and then you can just find some hidden gems in there. That's the Tubi model, and that's why it's the best streaming service
Yeah,
out there. If only they have an option to pay for no ads, I would pay.
yeah. I'm very very sick of Liberty Mutual. God, the
Oh
fucking
Jesus fucking Christ!
Bibberty. Yeah. Um,
I just mute and get up and go do something for a couple
Yeah,
minutes.
I figured let's start off with the more almost. I bet you this did play grindhouses. Mr. Majestyk, the adaptation from the Elmore Leonard novel with Charles Bronson, one of his better roles, honestly, one of his better movies, I would say.
Yeah, actually, that's the thing that I find funny going back to these movies from the 70s, the classics. We are starting to run low. It's not nearly as exciting as it was when we first got to the 70s.
Yeah,
Um, but what I do find interesting is like, if they released this today, everyone would be calling it woke because it's like about a farmer who is like hiring uh, unionized Hispanic people. It's like that would not fly
yeah, no way, and
today.
the whole corrupt system that's trying to stop them, and then since it is based on an Elmore Leonard novel, it's twisty and turny in its characters and also its plot devices because you think it's going to be purely about fighting this corrupt thing, and then it's like this whole other veers off because he gets arrested over some bullshit charge because he's already been in trouble, and they're just, eager to put him back in jail, and then he escapes with a mob boss, and then it turns into just a cat and mouse game for a while of him like keeping him hidden away, and then it's just all about the revenge. But then it's revenge on top of revenge. The mobster wants to get him, but then Mr. Majestyk wants to get him back.
Yeah, so basically the plan is that, or I guess we should kind of start from the beginning. So it's about Charles Bronson, who is a watermelon farmer. He needs people to pick the melons, and a bunch of rednecks come out and be like, well, "We'll pick these melons, get these Mexican folk out of here." And he's like, "No, I've hired them." And then he like shoots a shotgun at like their truck, and then the guys lie and say like, "Oh, he attacked us with his shotgun," even though it was the other guy's shotgun, and so like we're
Yeah,
gonna put you in prison for gun possession or whatever, or assault. And when he's in there, there's like an attack on the transport bus, and so he realizes that the guy that he's basically tied to is like this high level mobster, and so he decides that he's basically going to trade him. So he's going to be like, "Look, drop my charges. I'll get you this guy that escaped." However, the guy manages to the mob guy manages to escape. He's like, "All right, I'm going to kill this watermelon farmer." And what I find so interesting is that like everyone says no. Like everyone he works with is like, "Look, we got bigger things to deal with right now than some watermelon farmer. We
yeah.
don't have time for this bullshit." I thought that was so interesting that like he's not like the highest guy in the mob. He has people that he answers to, and all of them are telling him no. And I think that's just so interesting that normally that would be like the good guy dynamic who would be like, "No, I need to do this for myself," and like seeing it on the other end is interesting.
Well, I think we talked about this before in some other movie. My favorite kind of crime movies are not the big guys. I love watching like low rent garbage trash people, that are criminals. Their stories are more fascinating to me.
Yeah,
I
Friends with Eddie Coyle is like one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
Well, I just got done watching Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai, which I hadn't seen in like 20
Oh yeah,
years. Have you ever seen this?
I have seen it. It's been a long time though.
These guys are such low-level mobsters. They're only mobsters, like they're only in control of like their garbage neighborhood. Like there's nothing big going on, and they're old and they're tired and they're kind of losers. They're looked down on by the rest of the mob. That kind of shit fascinates me. So yeah, Mr. Majestyk is like, no, this is fucking stupid, you moron. That's why
Yeah,
you're not higher up the food
we
chain.
just killed a bunch of cops to get you out of that transport bus. We are not staying around. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. I love the fact that when they shoot up, they're so stupid. They waste so much ammo on the fucking watermelons. When they could have just grabbed a vehicle, a big vehicle, and just ran them over and over and over. How much was the cost of all that ammo?
Yeah, and it didn't even penetrate through all of them. He's still able to harvest
No.
plenty.
No, but when Charles Bronson's okay, so he's never been the most emotive of actors for sure. When he sees those watermelons are destroyed, he has more emotion than he does when his wife is murdered in Death
Yeah.
Wish. My melons! Ah!
Yeah, I mean that's basically it. You can see where it goes from here. The mob tries to hit him, but they can't, so they destroy his melons because that's what he really needs to survive. Because he is like he's surviving harvest to harvest.
Yeah, yeah.
And then and they also kill one of his friends.
This is true. I don't know. Did they actually kill him, or they just like destroyed his legs? I can't remember.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I think he survived, but he's basically like he can't walk anymore.
Right.
So then he gets revenge on them, and that's the movie.
I love it too in movies when they go on his turf, to attack, and he kind of like, well, I already know this land, I know this area, I'm good, I got you. You're stupid.
Yeah.
Cough, cough. Greenland. Don't go to Greenland. Or is it Iceland? I can't remember.
It's Greenland.
Yeah. But yeah, this is like his peak. So I think, we just watched The Stone Killer, which was a year before. Death Wish has just come out, and now this. And it seems like for a few years there, especially working with Dito De Laurentiis, was the magic thing for him. But eventually that does run dry, and then he went off, famously to do a whole bunch of fucking amazing garbage films for Canon Pictures. But during the 70s, Charles Bronson was fucking big.
Yeah. He just kind of hit a hot streak and got lucky.
Yeah. What is our next film?
Let's do Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3.
All right. So I've seen the remake. It's been done 3 times. There was a TV version of it, which I've never seen. But I think most people our generation know the remake that Tony Scott did, which might be his last film, the one with Denzel and John Travolta. Fine, but it's a little too flashy for me. I've never really cared for his filmmaking, and John Travolta's kind of chewing the scenery bullshit acting I've never cared for. This one takes it back. It's lean and mean, very 70s. Joseph Sargent was kind of like one of those guys that was no frills, very meat and potatoes kind of director, and I think that's what you kind of needed for this, because it's
very much a procedural.
Yeah, it's a procedural, but it's also a blue collar story.
Yes.
Just these 4 guys, and Tarantino has admitted to this, but the characters from Reservoir Dogs were taken from this movie, that they're all named after colors.
Yes, I noticed that too.
Yeah, and they wear fake mustaches, fake glasses, and I think a couple of them wear wigs or a hat or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, they do hats. They also have reversible coats, all that. Like, they planned this to a T.
Yeah. And what I love is it's just kind of a slow burn character piece. Robert Shaw is on fucking fire. Walter Matthau, very low key in this one. Not as driven as he was in Charlie Varick, which I think of his 3 serious crime movies, Charlie Varick is the best of the bunch.
It is the best. I do like this one because I from his perspective, like, he needs to stay calm because so much is riding on this. So
yeah.
People could die. And everyone else is freaking out, but he's like trying to stay calm.
Yeah, there's another one called.
I wish he was a little more emotive. We did a little more with that, where he's like clearly like feels like he's losing control, but has to maintain. That would have made it so much better.
Yeah,
it is pretty dry as a result, but I do think he, in contrast to the others, works really well.
I wish that they had a scene where he kind of stepped away, maybe went to the bathroom, kind of looked himself in the mirror, put some water on his face, take a breath, like.
I thought they would do that. I was hoping they would.
Yeah. The third one that he did, I can't find anymore, is The Laughing Policeman, which is kind of a buddy cop thriller with Bruce Dern. If I can find it, that'd be a fun one to watch.
Oh, nice. What I will say, also, it was kind of interesting. There are some comedic heavyweights in this movie, and it does have some strong comedy in it as well.
Yeah, it's not in your face. It's got this like low level
Yeah.
kind of interesting humor. Yeah, Jerry Stiller was a shock to me. Who still looks ancient even in the 70s.
Even great men have to pee. It's like there's a lot of great comedic moments. It's more emotive of the people. It's not like trying to be slapstick or trying to be a comedy. It's just like feels very natural to the situation.
Right.
There's just so much tension that people have to kind of relieve it somehow.
Well, it's I never know how to feel about the very, very end though, because it seemed too TV-ish, like Gotcha Columbo.
Yeah.
It's they go to the last of the survivors, Martin Balsam, and there's some tension there, but then all of a sudden he sneezes and like automatically knows it's him. It's just a fucking sneeze. It wasn't like a very unique sneeze, but he gives him kind of roll credits.
Yeah. That I when that happened, I was like, oh come on.
Yeah, I was like on the next episode of
Right. Yeah.
I do like his showdown with Robert Shaw though. He's like, "Are you gonna kill me?" And he's like, "No, what?" And so he just kills himself, just puts himself on the third rail, and that was a surprise.
Yeah.
But I movies where put upon normal everyday people, always fascinate me, and I think since like Die Hard, I think a lot of what they make these people go through is almost supernatural, like superhuman. But this one isn't, and it's
like if you watch the first Die Hard versus the Live Free or Die Hard, it's not even the same franchise.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was thinking like Cellular and stuff like that, where it's just it's a kid who happens to catch a phone call he's not supposed to catch, and then goes through this insane stuff. This one's a lot more low key in its approach, and there's something very calm. I don't know if it would bore a lot of younger watchers. I think that they would probably go for the remake, but if they have the patience, I would say watch this one.
Yeah, it's a decent one. It's definitely got a couple of problems, but I think like it is worth sticking out. There is so much. It's very New York. I'll put it that way.
I love the scene that's in the stairway, and Hector Elizondo is like, I don't give a shit. I'm not dumping my gun. I don't know what the fuck's up there. And he's like, leave your gun. And he doesn't put up with it. He takes him out. It doesn't matter.
That's the other thing too that I really like about this movie is the competence of the villains makes succeeding more interesting, or makes it feel like it's a fight for survival. If you're dealing with just, like there's always in these kinds of movies, there's always like a loose cannon element that always fucks everything up, or somebody slips information that they weren't supposed to, or something like that. There's always like a flaw that is because of some incompetence on the villains. They don't have any flaws.
Yeah,
and any flaws that do come up, they immediately take care of.
Yeah, well, it's almost ironic though that if he hadn't shot him, if he had kept his gun, then I don't think that they would have been caught. I think that they would have left immediately. That guy wouldn't have been hanging in the breezeway where he got shot in the back. He wouldn't have lost, Hector Elizondo, and then they would have had that machine gun for when they had to face off with everybody else. I thought it was like kind of funny, like he thought he was saving his ass, but he really wasn't.
I mean, it could also be because they were arguing so long over the gun that they lost the time that they needed. I mean, there's kind of a lot that can be going on.
Yeah. All right, what is our next film?
I want to save Chinatown for last. What was the other one?
It's the original Longest Yard. Everybody, please don't get your brain into fumble, because I am not going to discuss that fucking remake. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I watched that as a kid, and of course, when you're a kid, you have bad taste. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Yeah.
So what the problem with the remake, I'm going to tell you right now, is it is serious in certain areas, and you cannot go too far with the silliness. There is comedy in the original. I'm not going to ignore that, but for them to just be like Adam Sandler humor, fuck no, that doesn't work. When you're like, all of a sudden you have like a funny football scene, and then you're burning Chris Rock up and he dies. What? Yeah. No, any good filmmaker would know that is a terrible twist of tone. And they didn't really do that. I feel like in the 70s comedy like this kind of comedy was handled a hell of a lot better. I mean, like you like with taking Pelham 1, 2, 3, it's not dead serious. It has some levity in it, but it's all character based. The farthest I think they go in the original Longest Yard is maybe the silliness with the them dressing up like cheerleaders.
Yeah, I think that's probably the furthest. There was also a scene where he's like putting mud in the guy's pants.
Yeah,
But that makes sense for it does make sense in there because it's like the guards are allowing it to happen because they just want to see what happens.
yeah. So
Because
Cruz,
like with the Adam Sandler movie, it's like if this is supposed to be like a serious place with like a lot of corruption and these horrible people, they wouldn't be putting up with any of this shit.
no, and like the tension that is building throughout it because what it is Burt Reynolds plays Cruz, who is a fuck up football player, who decides he's going to go on a crazy joyride out of anger because of something his girlfriend did, gets arrested, goes to a very specific camp where Eddie Albert is the what do you call it? When you're the
Head
head,
warden,
what is it?
the warden.
Oh yeah, prison warden. Um, who wants to use him for his football team. He doesn't give a shit when he gets out. He's not even going to help him get out early. If you make parole, dude, is what he tells him, and there's no way you're going to do that. And in fact, I might set you up for more crimes so I can keep you going on my team. I don't understand why it fucking matters. It's a goddamn. You don't win prizes and awards. It's a stupid prison
Yeah,
league.
I think that's probably the most unrealistic element of this movie is just like his psychotic desire to have a football team that's comprised of the guards, but like there's for what? Like no one, like who is gonna like on a Sunday be like, oh man, I gotta watch the prison guard game.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
completely unrealistic.
unless there's like a whole gambling thing that they never got to, like, oh yeah, I'll make a bunch of money on this. Yeah,
Right?
that's a
I think
really
so.
weird point, but I love movies, and this is very, if you're gonna make a sequel to Cool Hand Luke, this is about as close as you get, about a guy who's just rebelling against the system, and it eventually, in a way, breaks him, but he finds a way to still do it on his own. A lot of this is just a character piece. This is, I believe, John Sturges did this one. This is, no, that doesn't sound right either. I'm pretty sure it's from the guy that did Dirty Dozen, though. But you can feel that camaraderie of just dudes being dudes hanging around,
Yes.
tough guys. Um, I'm gonna remember the name. I'm gonna be so embarrassed I can't remember. Um, but I don't know. A lot of it is just this is kind of his coming out, I think, as a A-lister. I mean, he had already been in what Deliverance 2 years earlier, or maybe the year
Mhm.
earlier, and all of a sudden, Burt Reynolds, who the fuck is this guy? And I think Burt Reynolds made a huge mistake by making too many redneck movies and not more movies like this.
Interesting.
Because he did
I mean,
Gator.
I can't speak to that, but
Yeah, well, I mean, think about
yeah,
it though, because he did. I mean, I know Smoking the Bandit's his biggest hit, but he did
right. That's
two.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, he did two of those. He did Stroker A's. He did the Cannonball Run movies, which kind of be considered a little rednecky. Uh, White Lightning, Gator. It just seemed like there was a lot of them mixed in there.
Yeah. There's not really a ton to say about it. I mean, it's just Burt Reynolds is ex football player who is in prison, and they're basically just holding his sentence over his head, and the warden uses his guards to try to provoke the inmates to do something so that it violates the rules, so that way they can keep them longer and longer. So basically, just we can just keep you guys for as long as we want. You can't fight back.
Yeah.
And so, but they want to do a game where they do like inmates versus the guards, and they know it would be a complete disaster. The point is to try to like break their spirit, um, and so they kind of take this moment to fight back, and it's pretty funny at times. It's pretty tragic at times. Um, it's pretty good. I don't know. It's a tad boring, but it's way better than the remake, obviously.
Yeah. Well, and I think this lays the groundwork for all the misfit movies that you see in sports. Everybody gives it the Bad News Bears, and yes, that was the one I think that stuck around longer because it was a kids movie and it resonated for decades. But this is the year before. And I think
This
putting
one is definitely a harder appeal to general audiences because we're dealing with murderers
yeah.
and rapists and as the heroes of our movie.
But I mean, that seems to lay the template of everything because like you have Major League, The Replacements, Necessary Roughness, Slapshot, all these movies where it's just a bunch of goofball weird kids or men or whatever put together on this team and somehow they succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I knew the ending because I had seen the remake, but I was generally tense during this one because it was the fucking 70s and who knew if they're gonna blow his head off when
Exactly.
he's
I was
walking.
thinking the exact same thing I was watching. I was like, oh, they actually might kill him in this.
Yeah, maybe that's why they remade it because they didn't want
It's
him
like
to getting shot.
Adam Sandler isn't getting shot in the back of the head
Yeah,
in one
yeah,
of his movies. Like you just know there's no tension there, but like this movie, that could absolutely happen.
yeah. It's a good watch, and well, I guess it's time. Let's talk about Chinatown.
Chinatown. One that I did not like as a kid. I watched this when I was in high school,
Uh-huh.
and did not get it. Watched it a couple days ago. Loved it.
Yeah, I think I saw it about 20 years ago, and I thought it was fine. But it's watching now and knowing more about corrupt systems and all this stuff and really like riding that train like okay yeah I get the whole thing about water rights and the murder mystery and plus detective stories started resonating with me a lot. I don't know, maybe around 2007 2008 because I just started reading detective novels, old school detective novels. So this was really in my wheelhouse and I think people forget that Chinatown was so big and so critically acclaimed that it launched for a very long time a whole wave of old school noir detective movies.
Yeah, but what's important to know about this movie? It's not what it does similar to other detective stories. It's about what it does differently. It's
Yeah.
a very unique. I mean, maybe not so much anymore because everyone wants to be Chinatown, but for especially first time and even still now, is very different than what you would expect from a story like this. And I absolutely love the game Pathologic. I don't know if you've ever played it or heard of it.
No, no.
Okay, basically it is kind of detective style game. It's like you're trying to cure the plague in this small European town. But what I love about the game is that everybody lies to you constantly. So it's just for their own reasons. And
Right.
you have to try to figure out through conversation, through context, and conversations with other people who's lying to you and why. And I think this movie, more than any other movie, has that element to it. Obviously, this came out before the game, but I can see the game took a huge inspiration from this.
Well, and casting Jack Nicholson was the right person, and it's the right decade to make it, the decade of cynicism and world weariness. But choosing him, he had the charm that he could talk to people and maybe manipulate discussions in order to get the information that he needs, but also like he's cynical and he doesn't really trust or believe anybody. But it's funny is that he keeps ending up in these situations that he, even though he seems very, very prepared, is not ready for. I do not believe that he was prepared in any way whatsoever to be, I don't know, held tightly and have his nose sliced off.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. Like, what's very different about this type of movie is that Jack Nicholson's character is not very slick at all. Actually, like most people don't like him because of his occupation,
Right.
which mostly what he does is he spies on married couples. So most people already are at a level of like, I don't trust this guy. I don't like this guy. So he's not that slick. Like he mostly like tries to manipulate people, and the other person just looks upset the whole time. So it's very funny. And also, yeah, just like his lack of finesse or his um, lack of foresight. He gets beat up pretty much every time he tries to do anything. So, like he's so disempowered compared to a private eye who's got his trusty gun with him at all times, and like no, he's just a guy who's just getting way in over his head and doesn't know what to do next.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's taking a case that's not like you said, you just seeing if someone's cheating on somebody else, which is real low level detective work. That is like, I guess, can consider in the world of crime stopping is like garbage, man.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's not
pathetic.
it's not a thing that people look on very fondly.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a thing of the genre, though, is it's always kind of questionable cases. It never seems to be a whole lot of noble men in detective work. It's always someone like he got kicked off the force for excessive, or he was a drunk and this is the only job that he could get.
Yeah, yeah. Another like detail about that I really like is that always in these stories, they always have like these detectives always have like some companion or some ally that really like comes through in the end for them, or has like gives them secret information or weapons or things like that. They always have like a confidant. He does not have a confidant in
Yeah.
this movie. He relies on one of his former clients who hasn't paid him yet to get him out of the situation, and he still has to pay and bribe him to do it. He is not at all on top of any of this.
Yeah, it's a really interesting watch. What always sucks though, every time I think about it, is how much Roman Polanski as a person is a piece of shit. And
Yeah, you
but
kind of have to separate yourself.
yeah, but Chinatown and Rosemary's Baby gave him enough juice that he's still making movies, I think.
I
And
think so.
getting
I think his
yeah,
last movie was like a couple of years ago.
yeah, it's like he has these stars line up to work with him, and I'm just like, that's confounding. There's other good directors out there.
Right. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
plenty of like, small time directors that are fantastic who would love to work with you.
Yeah. Now
But no,
this,
why you got to work with a monster?
yeah. So if you are a detective novel guy, just be prepared. This isn't your Dashiell Hammett kind of, Mickey Spillane, fast talking hot dames, getting laid every 20 minutes by a random stranger, gunfire, tough guy punching people out. No, it's closer to, I think 4 years after this, there is a movie with Richard Dreyfuss called The Big Fix, where he is like a lonely schlub divorced dad who takes on these very oddball cases just to pay his rent. It's kind of an anti-pulp novel detective thing.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson's character never, I don't even think, even holds a gun throughout the movie.
Oh yeah, I don't recall that. He does get
Yeah.
laid. He does get laid though. There's at least that, but it's Jack fucking Nicholson, so I still stunned.
You got to see the hairy chest. Come on, that's what we all paid for.
I was reading a book on him and Warren Beatty, and I can't believe how much. I mean, Warren Beatty, it makes sense. He got laid constantly, but Jack Nicholson and
Yes.
him would compete for the same women. Oh, by the way, Jack Nicholson and Warren Beatty are pieces of fucking shit.
It
Not
wouldn't be surprising.
yeah, not surprised they would work with Roman Polanski. And if I find out later horrible things about either one of them, I would not be surprised.
No.
Yeah, they would have contests to see who could steal people's virginities and stuff like that. So, um,
Gross.
yeah, I don't know where I was going with this, but fuck them both.
It's like, I have this information. I need other people to know it, but I don't know when it's appropriate. So you're just like, I'm just doing it now.
Yeah. If I can remember the name of the book, I would tell you because it also talks about Marlon Brando and somebody else. And there's only one person out of that whole four. It turned out to be a good guy.
Okay, yeah, I would like to read this.
All right. All right. So that is it, everybody. What is your favorite of the four?
For me, it's going to be Chinatown, but that's kind of an obvious one, I think. So if I was going to go for like a close second, I would say Taking a Pelham.
I am apparently a low rent garbage person. I fucking love Mr. Majestyk.
Yeah, that's totally your style, your genre.
Yeah, I don't know. And we were talking about before we did this episode is I kind of miss doing the drive-in grindhouse kind of movies. So
Yes.
it is nice to talk about. The thing is that everybody's talked about Chinatown. So I didn't feel like I was doing things special, even though I did want to talk about it. Nobody's talking really about at least two of the four movies, maybe Longest Yard. I don't know. But yeah,
Well,
I
they did
kind
get
of
a remake, so there's a little like, oh, did you know this movie is a remake? But like, no one's ever seen it.
yeah, I kind of want to go back to doing some drive-in grindhouse kind of fun stuff again. So
I would love to do that.
all right, cool. All right, that is it, everybody. So that is kind of the future direction. Yes, we're still gonna throw in some of the artsy stuff, because there's still
We
some.
need a break, guys.
Yeah.
Some of these movies are so depressing. Like, we need something fun and stupid to like reset our brains a little.
Sometimes. All right, that's it. Have a good one, everybody.
See you later.
Bye.